Dark History of the Reincarnated Villainess Volume Review, one of the most popular anime to air last year, was undoubtedly Silver Link's adaptation of My Next Life as a Villainess, Always Lead to Doom. The series saw the protagonist reincarnated into an otome game, a plot which is becoming a very popular subgenre of isekai in Japan. Today, I'm here to take a look at Volume 1 of the Dark History of the Reincarnated Villainess, a new release from Yen Press for this popular section of the manga world. The story follows protagonist Konoha Sato, who, as a middle school student, read a World Otome novel about a world she wished to be reincarnated into, so she died. And she's a working adult and no longer thinks about such things. That is, until she's suddenly hit by a truck and dies. Konoha awakens to find herself in the world she created, but there's just one problem. Instead of being reincarnated into the heroine, she finds herself as the heroine's little sister, Iyana. To make matters worse, Iyana is a villainess of this story who dreams of nothing but to kill her older sister. Now, of course, Konoha, or Iyana as we refer to her from here, wants to live a quiet life in the world she created and does her best not to trip any of those pesky death flags that would lead her to a bad end. The big problem for Iyana is that she is reincarnated into her story at the point in time when everyone around her already suspects her of wanting to kill her sister Konoha. Yes, she needs the protagonist after herself. To make matters even worse, the man who kills Iyana in Konoha's story, Sol Nemofira, is appointed as one of her servants. Now Iyana she can put a foot wrong and she almost certainly end up dead. I must confess that I will love the premise of the story. I find it muddled. Author Akihara Toka, who is another title in Japanese but this is the first in English, is trying to cram a lot of things into the book that works against it more often than not. Not only is this a reincarnation story, but it's also a shoujo series, which is where most of the problems come from. The tone of the spark of romance moments, of which there are a few between Iyana and Sol, is completely at odds with the dark undercurrent of Iyana potentially being killed. This is not helped by the fact that of the 3 chapters in this book, Konoha or Iyana find themselves in mortal danger in which case the shoujo moments distract from the otherwise darker narrative. Having said that, I think there is room for growth here. If Toka can get over every chapter harboring some life or death situation, then the romance is going to fit better. I confess better than the story, what kept me engaged was not Iyana as a character. The manga frequently flips between Iyana's energetic moments as a middle schooler creating the story and the realities of her current situation. She certainly has a lot of regrets about how she wrote some of these characters, that's for sure. While Sol, Konoha and her fiancé, Genifor Dandelion are more generic in terms of personalities, they're not bad characters either. Sol in particular is interesting to watch develop since he's stuck between believing Iyana is evil and also acknowledging that perhaps she is the bad woman everyone believes her to be, as he begins to develop feelings for Iyana. And this is going to lead to some interesting moral debates for him in the future. As far as the net artwork is concerned, Toka has a very distinctive shoujo style. The characters are very attractive and the girls are more often than not blushing while around them. Panels are often quite empty save for focus on the character's expression, but that works fine. Considering the genre, there are some very nice 2-page spreads in the book which more than makes up for the lack of detail elsewhere too. The biggest issue with the art is that it simply doesn't give off the dark feeling that the story often demands, which is a shame. As previously mentioned, the Dark History of the Reincarnated Villainess Volume 1 comes to the West thanks to Yen Press. It's been translated by Lisa Kaufman. The translation reads well, but the font lettering, handled by Kimberly Pump, was difficult to make out earlier in the book. This is because when Iyana is explaining the story to the reader, the font use is very tell-like, which is a nice touch, but I find it hard to figure out what some of the letters were, especially when it comes to names. Thankfully, this gets better as the book goes on. Also including the Volume 1 is a one-shot entitled The High School Necromancer Black Cloak, which is another fantasy-focused story. In many ways, I prefer this is the many story and would love to see the author continued in someday. The Dark History of the Reincarnated Villainess is ongoing in Japan at 5 volumes, and Yen Press currently have Volume 2, scheduled for release in April. Overall, Volume 1 of the Dark History of the Reincarnated Villain is somewhat disappointing. If you're particularly invested in the character reincarnated as villainous genre, then you certainly enjoy what this manga offers by many readers will be put off by the awkward contrast of the story and shoujo elements. Hopefully it will grow out of these issues going forward since there is a good base to work from. 6 out of 10.